Let me ask you a question. Are you experiencing autistic burnout, regular burnout, or both? If you're not sure, you are not alone. Today, we're going to talk about autistic burnout versus regular burnout, what the difference is, and how to recover from both. Hey, Confident Autistics. I am the Confident Autistic. You can call me Chris. On the channel, I create videos and more that helps us better understand our autism, connects us with resources that can help us through our autistic journey. And I share my life as a late diagnosed autistic adult. Now, if this is the kind of content you are looking for, please subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get into this episode of the series Adult Autism 101. This is another video in the series Adult Autism 101. Adult Autism 101 breaks down autism for adults on a late autism journey. Today's video was inspired by a recent heartfelt conversation I had with a friend and follower of our channel about autistic burnout and regular burnout. And in full disclosure, I did not really answer his question or explain it well to him. So I decided to make a video to explain it to him and to you, the differences and what we can do about either or both when we're experiencing either type of burnout. So let's start with regular burnout. For example, think about someone who takes on too many tasks, overextends themselves, or overcommits to both their professional and personal life. This type of person is always saying yes to everything: work projects, social events, family obligations, volunteer work, or even faith commitments like church or church activities. Now, this is not an extensive list. There are many different things that can contribute to regular burnout, but you get the idea that someone is overcommitting to things. Now, any one of these things I mentioned, or anything else that's similar to them, or any combination of them, can eventually lead to what we call in this video regular burnout. Constantly saying yes without giving yourself time to rest leaves you emotionally drained. Now, this is true whether you're neurotypical or neurodiverse, okay? It leaves you drained. Always saying yes. It leaves you mentally exhausted, physically depleted, and often disconnecting from the things you once enjoyed. Now, that is what we call regular burnout. A quick overview of it. What is autistic burnout? Now, autistic burnout is different. Imagine you're an autistic adult and you're masking all day at work, in social situations, or even at school. Wherever you're at during the day, you're 24, well, you feel like you're 24/7 masking. The moment you walk out of your house, the moment you get home, you're masking, okay? Or constantly dealing with sensory overload from bright lights, loud noises, crowded environments, or other overwhelming sensory experiences. Or struggling with emotional regulation throughout the day. Or experiencing a significant or prolonged disruption to our normal routines. Because we talked about in other videos, and we know as autistic adults, routines are very important to us. It helps us self-regulate. It helps us deal with anxiety and other issues. It makes our life run smoother. Now, any one of these, or any combination of them, can lead to autistic burnout. Now, we may appear fine to everyone else, but when we'll finally get home, when we're alone, we feel like we completely hit a wall. I don't mean that figuratively, okay? I know a lot of people in our community take things literally or figuratively. What I mean by we hit a wall is like, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. I can't. Mentally, you just can't do that. And that's what we mean when I say we completely hit a wall. Now, we may start talking as much, withdraw from others, lose interest in activities we normally enjoy, or feel like we simply can't function the way we used to. Now, that is autistic burnout. So, why do these burnouts happen? Regular burnout is generally caused by prolonged external demands and chronic stress, like we talked about earlier. Too many responsibilities, too many commitments, and never giving ourselves enough time to recover. Autistic burnout is different. It often develops from the ongoing demand of living in a world that wasn't designed for autistic people. Okay? Things like masking, sensory overload, which we talked about a moment ago, emotional regulation struggles, and disruption to routine. All of these things we mentioned earlier, all place an enormous amount of stress on our autistic nervous system. Now, it's also important to know that both regular burnout and autistic burnout can develop gradually over weeks or months, or they can seem to happen just suddenly, instantly, blink of an eye. Sometimes it's a slow burnout, a burnup, that is. Other times it feels like waking up one morning and simply feeling that we cannot do it anymore. Can major life events cause burnout? Absolutely. Major life events can contribute to either type of burnout or both. Things like moving, changing jobs, divorce, financial stress, or major relationship changes, including the loss of a loved one. Now, this one, I think I could say for all, but this one I personally have experience in. Trust me, it has not been an easy road for me in the last 7.5 months since my wife passed away. Now, all of these things I just mentioned, moving, changing jobs, divorce, financial stress, or relationship changes, is not an inclusive list, not a complete list, but they can all overload or overwhelm anyone, both neurotypicals and neurodiverse people. Now, for autistic people like us, these same life events often create additional challenges by disrupting routines, increasing sensory stress, and requiring even more masking. All the things we talked about that contribute to autistic burnout. Kind of like a cycle, isn't it? A vicious cycle. Now, grief does deserve a special mention. And most, if I'd done this a couple years ago, I probably would not have put this in there, and I should have. I put this in there because I'm experiencing it, and I don't think a lot of people are talking about autism and grief on YouTube. And I don't want the channel to be completely about that, but I do want to touch upon that because that's happened in my life, and that's going to happen in every autistic person's life. You're going to have grief in it. You're going to lose somebody. It could be a death. It could be a loss of a relationship, a friendship, whatever. Grief is something we need to discuss. So grief does deserve a special mention in this video. Losing someone you love is emotionally exhausting for anyone. Okay? And for autistic adults like us, grief can also increase sensory overwhelm, emotional dysregulation, and difficulty adapting to change. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, I lost my wife day before Thanksgiving in 2025. And I have had more trouble with sensory overload, although I'm managing it better than I was before. Because when my wife was here, she would have the TV on 24/7 to help distract her from her cancer pain. Now the house is quieter, so I have less of that, but noise does overwhelm me quicker than it used to. Emotional dysregulation, yes, oh boy, have I had that. And I'm adapting to change, but I'm struggling because I don't have a routine. But it's my problem. But I just want to share that with you. So if you're going through a similar experience, you don't feel like you're alone. Now, caregiving is another major contributor to autistic burnout. And it can also be a contributor to regular burnout as well. But whether you're caring for a spouse, which I've done, a parent, which I am doing, a child, or another loved one, caregiving can feel both both regular burnout and autistic burnout at the same time. Again, I can attest to this, okay? I'm there. Now, the constant emotional, mental, and physical demands, especially when combined with grief, can create the perfect storm for burnout, okay? And when I say it's combined with grief, I'm not talking about my situation where I lost my wife and grieving over that, and now I'm a caregiver for my mom. While you're caregiving for somebody who is terminally ill, like my wife was, you may start grieving knowing you're going to lose that person, or seeing yourself lose that person, seeing the person who used to be very strong and active. Biggest activity during the day is getting out of the chair and going to the bathroom and back. And you're grieving the person that they used to be. That is part of the grief I'm talking about here, okay? And that can create the perfect storm for burnout. Now, the question of the hour is this: can you have both at the same time? The answer is yes. Imagine you're already overcommitted at work. You're taking care of a family member. You're grieving the loss of someone you love. And every day you're masking and pushing through sensory overload. Those external demands can create regular burnout, while the internal neurological demands create autistic burnout. Many autistic adults, that is, experience both simultaneously. And I believe I am right now in my life. I could be wrong, but I believe that I am. Now, let's take a look at the symptoms and signs of burnouts. By starting with the symptoms and signs of regular burnout, often looks like emotional exhaustion, physical fatigue, feeling detached from work and or responsibilities, reduced motivation, and feeling cynical or hopeless. Now, autistic burnout can include many of those same symptoms, but it may also involve increased sensory sensitivity, difficulty communicating, loss of previously learned skills, which can be referred to as autistic regression, increased executive functioning difficulties, emotional dysregulation, and feeling disconnected from our own identity, not to mention needing significantly more recovery time. Now, another important sign is an increase in autistic shutdowns and or meltdowns. As burnout builds, your nervous system has fewer resources available. And many people say it's a common expression that's in the neurodiverse community. I don't use it that much, but many people do. You have fewer spoons to work with each day. Now, you may notice shutdowns or meltdowns becoming more frequent or more intense. If you're noticing these changes, your body may be telling you that it desperately needs rest and recovery, which I refer to as me time. And I'm going to be doing a video on me time a little bit later on the channel, so keep an eye out for that. Now, let's talk about recovering from regular burnout, which is what my friend was asking me about on the phone. And I really didn't have an answer I was happy with sharing with him. So that's why I did the channel. I want him to have the best possible answer. So anyway, recovering from regular burnout starts by giving yourself permission to slow down. Prioritize rest in your life. Be sure to take small breaks throughout your day. Possibly go for a short walk. Maybe read a book that you enjoy. Not something for professional development, unless you really enjoy that. But maybe it's just something that you just enjoy reading. Doesn't matter. Maybe you enjoy reading about trains. Maybe you enjoy reading about tornadoes. I don't know. Find a book. Or you can sit quietly for a few minutes without feeling guilty. Because when you're committing yourself to a lot of things and you start saying no, you start feeling, oh man, I said yes to everybody else. I said no to them. I feel guilty. I should have said yes. But the important thing is we have to set healthy boundaries for ourselves. Okay? We're the most important person we have to take care of. So, additionally, things to help would be to stop checking emails, text messages, or social media after a certain hour, or completely take a break from them. Okay? Limit unnecessary commitments. Make sure you protect your time. No matter what you commit yourself to do, make sure you have some time in your day, each and every day, for yourself to rest, to recharge your batteries, whatever you want to call it. And to do this, you may need to simplify your schedule whenever and wherever possible. And perhaps most importantly, give yourself permission to say no. You don't have to accept every invitation. You don't have to attend every event. You don't have to justify protecting your own well-beings. Your rest matters. Now let's talk about recovering from autistic burnout. Recovering from autistic burnout often requires a different approach. And this can include reduced sensory input whenever possible. Use noise-canceling headphones. Dim the lights. Take quiet breaks throughout the day. Simplify your routines. Maybe your routine's too complicated. Simplify it, at least for a temporary time, until you work through this autistic burnout. Keep daily schedules as predictable as possible. During your day, make sure you are including calming activities such as gentle stretching, sitting outside in nature, weather permitting, quiet breathing exercises, meditation, or simply spending time in a peaceful environment. Try to maintain a constant sleep schedule and commit to it by going to bed and waking up around the same time each and every day. Now, this one I do not do, okay? I probably should, but I'm going to be honest, okay? This is not my strong suit, but this is a recommended tip. Eat balanced nutritional meals whenever possible to help support energy and overall well-being. My doctor would love for me to not only mention it, but to actually follow that advice. But no, I'm a junk food junkie, I'll be honest with you. And perhaps most importantly, and even though this is underneath the category of autistic burnout or adult autistic burnout, I think this applies to any type of burnout and in life in general. Be compassionate with ourselves. Okay? If you would forgive somebody for not doing something, then you should forgive yourself for saying no when somebody asks you to do something, okay? Recovery isn't about pushing boundaries or pushing harder. It's about giving our nervous system the opportunity to heal. Now, a common question a lot of people ask, okay, I think everyone asks, whether it's regular burnout or autistic burnout, is how long does recovery take? We live in a society today of instant gratification, okay? We have microwaves. And I remember seeing this on The Simpsons.
Is it done yet? Is it done yet?
Your meatloaf will be ready in 8 seconds, Homer.
No! Isn't there anything faster than a microwave?
We have instant access to things on television we want to watch, instant access to information on our computers and phones. So we are not real good at waiting in our society anymore, okay? So how long does recovery take? Now, recovery looks different for each and every one of us, okay? Regular burnout may improve within a few weeks after reducing stress, resting, and setting healthy boundaries, while autistic burnout often takes much longer. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, guys, but yes, autistic burnout will take much longer to recover from than regular burnout. Sometimes recovery from autistic burnout takes several months. I hate to tell you that, but I got to be honest with you, and you need to know. So, as you're trying to recover from burnout and you're not seeing much progress, you don't just say, "Yeah, screw it." Keep at it. It will come to you in time, okay? And for some people, it may take even longer than months. It could take a year, okay? And there's no judgment here. This two people can be doing the exact same thing, have autistic burnout. One can recover in a few months, another can recover in a few, maybe several months or a year. And the difference may be what was the causes of them, or how the nervous system is. I cannot even list any all of them, but this is not a time to say, well, John had autistic burnout and he was over it in 3 months. What's wrong with me? I'm in my fifth month. No, no, this is not a competition, okay? It's going to take time. Be patient with the process. Healing from autistic burnout usually requires ongoing self care. Now, these are tips that can help, I don't want to say accelerate, but shorten the amount of time that you have to go through recovery, okay? Healing from autistic burnout usually requires ongoing self care, reducing demands in our lives, rebuilding our routines. And rebuilding a routine does not happen overnight. I've been trying to rebuild a routine since my wife passed away 7.5 months ago, and I'm not anywhere near there, okay? I'll be honest with you. Rebuilding routines takes time, and giving ourselves permission to recover at our own pace. Like I mentioned before, it's not a competition. Don't compare your recovery time with somebody else's. Every one of us is on our own journey and path, and we're going to recover at a pace that's right for us. Now, if autistic burnout goes unaddressed, it may lead to increased shutdowns, increased meltdowns, or autistic regression. We talked all about those a little bit earlier today, where previously developed skills temporarily become more difficult. That's what autistic regression is. The earlier we recognize burnout, especially autistic burnout, the sooner we can begin supporting ourselves. Now, an important question that you may be thinking about, and if you're not, you should be, when to seek professional help. Sometimes burnout becomes too much to manage on our own, and it's okay to ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness. I know in our culture, at least my generation, asking for help from men asking for help was considered a sign of weakness. You ever wonder why you never asked for directions and you spent 4 hours getting somewhere that should have taken you 4 minutes? Because we don't like asking for help. But it's not a weakness. It's a superpower to ask for help, okay? We should try talking with a counselor. That's one thing we could try. A psychiatrist, a psychologist, or even our primary care physician about what's going on and saying, I need help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help, okay? Any of the above can be an important step towards recovery. And remember, there's absolutely no shame in asking for help. In fact, reaching out for help is not a sign of weakness, as I mentioned earlier. Reaching out for help is a sign of strength. And if you're having thoughts, and here's a little trigger warning, I'm going to mention the word suicide here. If you're having thoughts of hurting yourself or contemplating suicide, please seek help immediately. If you live in the United States or Canada, you can call or text 988 24 hours a day or visit 988lifeline.org. A link to that is in this video description to reach out to the Suicide and Crisis Hotline. Remember, you're not alone. Help is available. and your life matters. Now, this it is kind of like a shameless plug, but I'm going to do it anyway. Your life matters. I don't want to lose any subscribers to the channel, and certainly not to what we just talked about, a suicide. Okay, please, you're very important to me. I really mean that. I know it sounds like he's saying that to everyone, and I am, but it is true. I care about each and every one of you very deeply, okay? And I'm very committed to this channel, and I really want to make a difference in your life. And when I hear that I'm making a difference in your life, that means more to me than a like or a share. Although those are important to help grow the channel, that means the most to me. So your life matters. Now it's your turn. Have you experienced regular burnout, autistic burnout, or both? What helped you begin your path to recovery? Share your response in the comments. Your story could help someone else who is struggling with either regular burnout or autistic burnout or both begin their journey to recovery, and will help them feel like they're not alone. Thank you for watching this video. New episodes of Adult Autism 101 drop every Monday, so be sure to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell to receive notifications of new videos and when I go live. In the meantime, please check out this video that is coming up on your screen. And until next time, I am the Confident Autistic, reminding you to live confidently autistic.